This DBI's Brother Panther. I've got a database here I've been monitoring. I'm going to do a response time analysis for this database, and what I see here is for the last 8 hours, not much going on. I actually want to look at the entire week. So I'm going to look at the performance of this database for the week, and I've got a 1/4 second response time. 85% of that time is inside the database, and the database is a little bit more I/O bound than CPU bound. I'm going to click on that I/O pie slice, and Brother Panther just did the analysis to find the statements that are causing that database to be I/O bound. So right there, I've got about 2/3 of all the I/O in the database tied up in these 4 statements. I can pass those as a workload to the design advisor and apply DBI's advanced index benefit analysis methodology. So here's an I/O bound database, 2/3 of all the I/O in 4 statements. We're waiting for the answer here. Doody-doody-doody-doo. Oh, outstanding. And we can see we're going to get from 374,000 time rounds down to 116 for a 99% improvement. Here's the indexes that we have the opportunity to create, and we can see the benefit of each of these indexes. If we add this first index, we'll get 49% of that savings. If we add this second index, we get 46% of that savings. And if we add this third index, well, that's not a very big contributor to all that savings. So I take these first 2, that's the bulk of my savings, click on Create. There they are in my editor. I'm ready to go. And just like that, in about a minute, I just took 2/3 of the I/O out of an I/O bound database. Isn't that easy? Yes, it is.
Thanks, guys. My name is Anantha, and I'm going to talk about what's new in DB2 10.5. There are a few things here: BLU acceleration, PureScale feature on HADR, upgrade techniques, performance improvements, compatibility, encryption, deprecated and discontinued features. Well, coming to BLU acceleration, it's a collection of DB2 technologies for analytical workloads. Registry variable DB2_workload is set to analytics so that it indicates the database is set for analytical workload. And in that, we have a lot of features like in-memory performance, which BLU is optimized for accessing data from RAM. In case if the size grows beyond that, it can still intermediate the results and may spill to disk. The number 2 is actionable compression. It allows operation to be performed on compressed data, and it also preserves the order in the data is stored. Skipping of the data, it enables DB2 to detect the columns that is required to satisfy the query. So in that case, it can avoid the pages that is to be read, which is not required. And CPU optimization, if available at the hardware level, DB2 BLU can perform the same operation on multiple points of data simultaneously. And column organized table, the data is stored in a column organized manner. For column organized table, you need to specify organized by column syntax during your create table command. And there is a DB parameter dft_table_org, which can be set to either row or column for default value. On PureScale and HADR, this feature is a scalable clustered capability for OLTP. Initially, it's introduced in version 9.8, which had some low latency. Now it's upgraded in version 10.5, which supports TCP/IP networks. In this, you can add drop members without any outages. And adding HADR with PureScale will get you the highest level of availability. In that case as well, still you got one restriction where you have to use the sync modes, either async or super sync. And reading on a HADR standby is not supported with PureScale. And coming to upgrade techniques in version 10.5, you cannot upgrade using a fixed pack from a lower version to 10.5, you have to install it a fresh installation. Whenever you upgrade a database to version 10.5, you have to do the relevant database application routines. Online fixed pack updates in the DB2 PureScale environment, it's very easy. The reason is, as we saw earlier, any of the member can be brought down or up. If a member of a PureScale is used only for a failover or administrative purpose, the licensing requirement for the administrative member can be reduced. Performance improvements. DB2 Explain has got some information for the column organized tables. You can create expression-based indexes which will improve the query performance. PureScale uses hierarchy locking for performance enhancement. In-place reorg is enabled for adaptive compression table. You can also use not enforced capability if you know that sure the data conforms all the constraints. DB2 PureScale STMM feature eliminates the out-of-memory situation where each member has its own tuner to reconfigure the memory. DB2 Convert, the utility will help you to convert the row organized table to column organized table. Coming to encryption, DB2 10.5 has an effective way of protecting sensitive data. The data encryption is done using the NIST compliance. The data is encrypted using data encryption key. We also have a master key in this, which does the key encrypting key for protecting the data encryption key. And compatibility, the row size can be extended in 10.5. Now you can create a table with the row length higher than the page size. And index null keys can be excluded, which will release a lot of space. You can customize your own workload to isolate a specific member of the system. And even JSON development has been added in 10.5, and it can store and manage JSON data in DB2. There are a few other enhancements in DB2 text search and data server clients as well. And the features that are deprecated and discontinued. There are two registry parameters that is deprecated, and COBOL and Photo language support a database API is deprecated. DB2 index free and DB2 trusted binding are the two registry parameters that is discontinued. Automatic statistics profiling is discontinued. The commands like DB2 identify type 1 and dynamic explain commands are discontinued. And the load command with statistic yes option is discontinued. Now coming to 10.5 tablespace. Tablespace is a storage structure containing tables, index, and large objects. There are three types of tablespace. Catalog tablespace that holds the catalog tables, temporary tablespace that holds temporary tables. User will hold all the user-defined tables. My personal favorite is automatic storage, and which database manager assigns the container and storage paths. When it comes to non-automatic storage, you have to remember all the details like path, device, page size, and you have to allocate it. Even during a restore, you don't need to mention the container path if you are using an automatic storage. And the last thing is SMS, user-defined permanent tablespace, is deprecated in version 10.1. And DMS, user permanent tablespace, is deprecated in version 10.1 FP1. And you can see in my screen the tablespace limit that is shown. For a DMS and non-temporary, it remains the same. 64 GB for a 4K, 128 for 8, and 256 for 16K, and 512 for a 32K. For a DMS non-temporary, it's 8192 GB for a 4K, and 16,384 G for an 8K, and 32,768 GB for an 16K, whereas for 32K, it's 65536 GB. I think I'm done. Any comments and suggestions?
Yeah, you ended right on time. That was 7 minutes, and the duck showed up, and here's your last slide. You have a slide with your contact information. There you are. Very nice. CenturyLink Technology Solutions. Hey, so thanks for sharing your knowledge with the DB2 community. That was
Thanks for the opportunity.
That was a lot of information to cover in 7 minutes.